I had two people at 6 and basically had the same question. So it seems to me that it might be a good issue to just, make a little recording here, brief recording. Well, to put it in context, I'm kind of a believer in sort of what I call roughly a mastery learning model, and that really the sum total of the course is what skills you have added by the end. And stats is a very kind of skills-oriented course, in that you need to understand when to do certain things and how to interpret certain things. And the whole stats part is really simple because that's done by the software. And so you don't need to know the math or the, certainly the formulas and all that sort of stuff, the calculation. You still don't even need to know that because you just don't need to know it. I mean, if you do what I do, yeah, you need to know all that crap. But if you're just using it, no, you don't need to. And so I use a kind of a master model, and all of the assessments up until the final, I'm thinking there'll be probably 3 of them. I haven't scheduled all those yet because I want to, I kind of wait and see where I think things are going, and then we'll do the first one. And based on the first one, I'll use that as a formative model to see if there are things we need to go back and pull out and that sort of stuff. And so when you get an assessment, and you'll have a couple of weeks to do it, and you'll have the data set, and you'll have all the questions, and everything will be up on the Azure Learn site, and it'll be up there for a couple of weeks before the deadline, before the due date. And once you finish, and you can use any materials that's on the Azure Learn site to help you with it. And once you submit it, then I cut the submission port off like that night, at midnight that night. And then I put an answer sheet up and a video where I have walked through all of the questions and tried to anticipate what questions you might have about what procedures to use and why, why maybe you didn't get it wrong or get it right or not. And you get credit for having done it. And so then it's a cumulative course. So each assessment adds, what was done previously onto the next piece and onto the next piece, things like that. And as I said, I think there'll be 3 assessments there up to the final. And it's very formative nature, and there's no penalty, and you just have to do the best, give it your best shot, submit it, and learn from mistake, so to speak. And then the final exam is a culmination of all those ideas and concepts. Nothing new, nothing hidden. Well, it might be a couple of new things on the final, but nothing hidden or anything like that. You'll have the final for a couple of weeks before it's due too. And once you submit it, it's, I'll put the answer sheet up, and I'll do a quick scan to see, who has missed things. And then you generally have a few days, maybe a week or so, or maybe not quite a week or so, a few days to go back in and redo with a new data set and a new question, different variables, things like that. The whole idea is to get you to mastery level on some of these concepts, by the end of the course. So it's non-threatening. I'm very much a believer that, the whole purpose of doing classes is to learn something and build skills, and not, punish people for, screwing up here and there, and not expect people to be perfect from the get-go. I mean, what's the point of a class if you know it all to begin with? So, we kind of operate in that master mode. So it's not it's grades and things like that. It's not something to be afraid of.
So after reading through last week's material and this week's material, some of it was good because it was a refresher from many years ago when I had taken statistics. I was like, oh, some of that rings a bell. But after reading through some of that, especially the nice long, like I think one was 20 and one was more like 50 pages, and they had examples throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Will there be more material in the next coming weeks where we do things for practice too?
Oh yeah, yeah. That'll be the basic notion of the course. I'll get those up. Well, tomorrow's kind of a crapshoot. We're in all kinds of Zoom meetings with classes opening back up the next couple of days. But I'm going to try to get some new videos and another example up. Maybe open the next couple of sections or so of As You Learn over the weekend. So, you know, the first assessment will probably be about 2 weeks from next week, whenever that is.
Okay.
And then they'll come, you know, every couple of weeks or so. Every 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. The documents corresponding with the videos are pretty helpful. Those, the 2 longer documents at the end, they had like homework practice questions.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if that was for us to actually be completing, and then
No, they're just there. Yeah, I just hate to even ask people to buy text when all that material's on online, and the stuff online. You know, these texts, these sources are just as good as paid $100 for a textbook or something like that. So, yeah.
Well, it's greatly appreciated. So thank you for that.
I hated to buy them too, and have never gotten suckered into writing a textbook. So you know, there's no money to be made for that for an author either. So I kind of, as my revolt, I always do use online text as much as I can. Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, I think that answers most of my questions. I see Caitlin's about to hop on here. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Okay. Remind me again, are you normally open for just an hour on Wednesdays?
Well, I'll stay as long as people are having questions, but I won't stay here all night. So, you know.
Right, absolutely.
You know, but, you know, if I answer a couple more questions and I don't get any, doesn't look like I'm getting more takers, I'll just, you know.
Hop off.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks for your time. Have a good night.
Okay. All right. Have a good one. Galen.
Hey, sorry to be so late. I was just checking out here, let me turn on okay. Let me turn on, okay, here I am. I just got home. I wanted to give you a heads up. I'm not very good at statistics. I took an intro to statistics class at App, and I had to drop it because it just did not go through my brain for some reason. So I'm a little worried about that.
Well, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, probably the most reasonable answer to why you had difficulty with it is it just wasn't taught very well, or it wasn't organized very well, or you couldn't understand what the person was saying because, you know, whatever. I mean, lots of reasons.
Yeah, it was more mathematical, and I think your class is more logical. So I think
stats is logic. You know, some people learn it as a math thing, as sort of a math exercise. Yeah, I can do the math, but there's no reason to do it. I mean, you throw data in a program and you interpret the outcome. So all you have to do is understand is what data to put in, and, you know, what routine to run, and then figure out what it's telling you. And as far as the math part, forget about the rest of that. I mean,
perfect.
I don't do a lot of math.
Okay, that's good. I just remember, oh my gosh, I'm in the public health nutrition master's program here, and I saw the one class was statistics. I was like, that's the one class that brings back old memories. So I've never had to drop a class, but it just went right through my head. But
yeah, it's you know, it's not done, and I don't, you know, I'm trying not to be overly critical of folks that do this, but it's not a class that's taught real well, typically. And
apparently not. I just like,
it,
I was trying so hard to learn it, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the professor, but I just remember sitting there during the test and I was like, this just is not clicking.
well,
I'd rather
I mean,
save my GPA.
have you looked at if you've looked at the some of the material and you've looked at the videos? I mean, does it make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think you explain it really well. I've looked at the beginning, or I listened to the video at the beginning of the week, so I might not be completely on track for this week yet. But I'm trying to be more positive and just think about,
We'll get you. Well, yeah, don't worry, we'll get you through it. Plus, I always leave open the opportunity if someone needs, a little bit of extra help or extra time, or we need to walk through an explanation a little bit better or something like that. I mean, I'm available. I don't.
Okay.
I schedule those as Zooms.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you don't mind. I'm recording this because I always put up recording.
Oh no, that's fine.
And it's just, it helps if people hear that other people are having the same concerns that they're having. They're just not willing to say it. And so I operate that way. But yeah, we'll get you through it. I mean, this is a low stress thing, and it's if you heard what I was saying previously, I mean, it's a mastery model. So, everything is a formative assessment up until the final exam, and the final exam then is just a recapitulation of everything that you've done all the way along. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's really hard if you put in the time, look at the videos, and do the readings and take a shot at the the JASP stuff and things like that. You'll be just fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, I didn't have any specific questions, so I guess that's about it. So I just wanted to see what the Zoom meeting was about and whatnot. So
yeah, it's keep me awake too. I'm kind of if I don't have a lot of activity here at night, I ended up falling asleep on the couch back there. So I'm on one end, my wife's on the other end. We're both sound asleep. But,
that's funny. Well, thank you for holding these office hours. So
right.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
All
have
right.
A good one, and
Thank you.
I'll hopefully see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Sounds good.
Okay. Bye-bye.